What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. I am the Poetic Killer, and in today's video, we're going to be reading the poem Rules to Engagement and the Agreement. So, we're going to start off with Rules to Engagement. All right, let's get to it. Try to learn the lessons before it's too late. Live your life by taking control. Don't be controlled by fate. Certain experiences will take you through the trial of fire. When presented with an opportunity, quickly grab it before it expires. What may be good for you may be bad for someone else. Don't be an extra in another's movie. Confront life and deal with the cards you were dealt. There will be supporters and haters in life. Regardless, march on. In existence, you must be crafty and blend in with the vultures, but never conform. And that is rules to engagement. Now it says, try to learn the lessons before it's too late. Live your life by taking control. Don't be controlled by fate. So in that line, it's saying that you have to learn the lessons. The more you ignore the signs that your soul and your spirit guides are given to you, the more you're gonna learn the lessons when it's too late. But the more you start to listen to your intuition and your inner voice and situations and experiences that you're having, the more you realize that there are times for you to, you can switch things and be able to alter and bend the reality that you're going through and you're experiencing just based off your thoughts and your actions. You can literally alter the reality of your experience. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that you're very sensitive to the psyche and you're listening to the inner voice that is within you and you're listening to your intuition and your experiences. And the more you gain knowledge and wisdom in life, the more your intuition will be more accurate and more stronger. So it's all about tapping into that inner energy. And then it says, live your life by taking control. Don't be controlled by fate. So when I say don't be controlled by fate, you have to realize that your actions is what dictates your fate. Your thoughts and your imagination is what dictates your fate. But if you allow just the experience to control or take control and get that ending result, it will never happen like that. You have to pick yourself up, pick up your cross and walk and experience what you need to experience. And the more you do that, the more you're shaping your fate and your destiny into what it's meant to be for you. And then it says, certain experiences will take you through the trial of fire. When presented with an opportunity, quickly grab it before it expires. So certain experiences will take you through the trial of fire. You know what I'm saying? The trial of fire, fire to me represents vision. Fire to me represents the light, the illusion. And this light and this illusion, or this experience, I should say, really, this reality, I should say, um, is like a fire. It's like a mirage. You know what I mean? It's like, when you go into the desert and it's hot and it's very heated, that's like a form of fire, right? It's a form of heat. But what is it? It's an illusion, right? A mirage is an illusion. You think you're seeing water or an oasis when there really isn't one, right? That's what it's talking about. It's the same situation. You think you're seeing something, but it's really you just burning through that fire. But the more you can overcome that reality, aka overcome what's outside of you, your external situations, the more you won't be burnt by that fire. The more you actually be triumphant in that situation. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take you through that trial. This reality is meant to be hard and difficult. You know what I'm saying? Because the reality, like I've said in my previous video, has to do with the masculine energy, the light, the physical structure, all these things has to do with the physical world has to do with the masculine energy, while the internal has to do with the feminine energy. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important you realize that when you're dealing with the masculine energy, it's going to be very painful. It's going to be very hard. It's going to be very difficult. But the more you can strive on and you can go through that trial of fire, like like in the Bible with those three men, the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I'm not saying their names right, and they were thrown into the fire. You know what I'm saying? By the king of the days of those time, they were thrown into the fire. But because they had a powerful relationship, a connection with a powerful source that was within them, aka if you want to call it God, that's why they were able to persevere through that trial of fire and come out untouched and unburnt. You know what I'm saying? It's all about having that true, authentic connection within yourself. And the more you can do that, you'll be protected. You know what I mean? No weapon formed against you will prosper. And then it says, when presented with opportunities, quickly grab it before it expires. So when you're going through this experience, your life, you're going to be presented with multiple opportunities, multiple situations. You know what I'm saying? And it's very important that you realize that you have to grab them before it expires, because it's like going through, like, say, Temple Run, the game that we all used to play on iPhone. You got to grab all the coins. You know what I mean? You got to grab them all, because the more coins you grab, the more accumulation you're getting and more riches you're getting. So the more you're gaining wisdom and knowledges, and you're able to pick them up and utilize them to better benefit your life, the more you're actually going to be more richer in spirit. And that's the first and most important thing, because the more you're richer in spirit, this is what you're going to take on to your next experience. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to be able to utilize these experiences and this knowledge and riches, which is wisdom and knowledge, and you'll be able to pay for things. You can be able to pay for new experiences, pay for new um, um, intuition, and if you want to call it downloads, but really just tapping into that inner source that is within you, and it will come real fast because you got extreme riches in the spirit. You know what I mean? You might not have all the riches in the physical, but in the spirit, you got extreme riches and you're extremely rich. So you want to keep adding more accumulation and more coins and more experiences to your soul. And then it says, what may be good for you may be bad for someone else. Don't be an extra in another's movie. Confront life and deal with the cards you were dealt. So you have to realize that everything is subjective. Good and bad is subjective. What may be good for you may be bad for someone else. And what may be bad for you may be good for somebody else. It's all about being wise. Okay, this person that they're living their life, does this life that they're living, does it affect me personally? And if their life doesn't affect you personally, then that is not your job for you to go and try to conform or try to make that person think a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not personally in that person's life. If you're in that person's life, our personal life, and you're having that dialogue, that's when you can be able to give your advice and your 2 cents on things, and you can see if you guys can be able to communicate to see if you can find a common ground. So it's very important that you're doing that, because if you really try to force or project what you're thinking, what is good and bad for you, onto somebody else, then that's you real, aka trying to live two vessels with one soul. You know what I'm saying? You have to realize everyone has their own individual soul. That's why you got to be solo in what you're doing, because that's where the word soul and solo comes from. It's all about being an individual, and the more you can master your individual self, the more you can be around the collective and know when it's time for you to utilize your piece to the puzzle to create that greater vision. And then it says, don't be an extra in another's movie. Confront life and deal with the cards you were dealt. So it's very important that you're the main star in your movie, in your experience. That's what I call it. You like to see this experience like a movie. You know what I'm saying? And the more you can do that, the more you will be the main star. You won't have to look for Hollywood to be your star. You can be the star, and then everyone will gravitate towards you. You can be the new shining energy that is bringing something new into the world. You know what I mean? You can be like that new illuminating source that can help people guide their way, and they can find their destination and their true vision and their path in their own unique way. Because we're all here to really inspire each other. You know what I'm saying? We're all here to be an example for each other. But if someone's been an example, or you're trying to be an example for somebody and they're trying to reject that, then that just shows that they still have a lot of work to do in their self. You know what I mean? They still have to do a lot of self-evaluation, a lot of shadow work, and a lot of self-healing, because a lot of people are going through things that they might not know. And if you're lost in the physical world and you're lost into whatever your occupation or title is, a lot of times you might be going through a lot of pain inside, right? But you won't know it, and you might cover it with accolades and accomplishments that you have achieved. But deep down, you might have a lot of things that are lacking, and that's why that no matter how much physical things you have, you still have something that you might feel like you're lacking, and you want to grab it by all force. But it's very important that you start doing that shadow work, and the more you can work on yourself, the more you realize, you know what, I don't need to get forcefully take something from somebody else, because I got my own stuff now. I got my own riches. And I see this person has their own riches because they worked hard for it. So I actually commend that person, and I see something in myself that I see in that person. That's what I mean by we're all inspiring each other. If you take away the ego, you know what I mean? You get rid of the ego and you just look within yourself, you realize that, oh, we're all doing the same thing. We're all trying to be, well, most of us that are striving to be the better version of ourselves, that's what we're trying to be. We're trying to be an inspiration for others. And when you're an inspiration for others and people are inspiring you, you don't have the time to have hatred and jealousy and envy. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all here to be the best version of ourselves. or you wouldn't exist in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So you have to always have that open heart and open mind and be able to learn from other people, um, and be able to take in points and see where they're going right in their life and learn from them. You know what I'm saying? But the ego has to do with limitations. So if you're overpowered by your ego, you're going to be limited in the perception you're having when you're witnessing other people do what they're doing in their own personal life. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that we're always checking ourselves. Even this is what I do to myself, because whatever I preach, onto here is something that I'm doing within myself. You know what I mean? I'm not just saying these things to people just to say because it sounds good. I'm saying it because this is what I've learned, and that's why I'm able to write this whole book, because this is something that I've been learning based on my experience and situations. And I'm just here to show other people that you can find that knowledge and wisdom in yourself too. You just got to tap in yourself. You know what I'm saying? And then it says, yeah, there will be supporters and haters in life, regardless. March on. In existence, you must be crafty and blending with the vultures, but never conform. So you have to realize that everything's dualistic in nature. Some people are going to love you, some people are going to hate you, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're being your true, authentic self, that's the first moment. That's the most important job for you. It's just being your true, authentic self. And the more you're your true, authentic self, even if people don't like you and people like you, one thing that they can agree on is that their perception is based on you being your true self. You know what I'm saying? And you can rest that night knowing that you're not wearing a mask or having to conform into something that is not truly you. Because eventually, that mask that you're wearing is going to fall off because you can't breathe in it. You know what I mean? Suffocating you. So it's very important that you get rid of that mask and you experience your true self. And there might be times where you got to put on a mask, to be able to reach other people and things like that, and be able to uh, connect bridges that you might not be able to connect if you don't have that mask on. You know what I'm saying? But you have to still realize that you have to put your authentic self first and foremost first. And the more you can do that, the more you can sleep at night and know that you're being your true self, and you don't feel like you're being pressured to be something else. And then it says, in existence, you must be crafty and blending with the vultures, but never conform. So, what is a vulture? Now, in life, there are two type of people. There are people who are their true, authentic self that can create something, and then there are people who observe people who are their true, authentic self and try to take that away from them. You know what I'm saying? So, it's very important that we're all trying to be our true, authentic self, so we don't have to have this type of mentality where we're trying to attack each other, trying to take things from other people that was never for you in the first place. But the more you can look within yourself and find what is truly for you and what you were here to do and what you're destined to do based on when you came out of your mother's womb, the more we can find our piece to the puzzle and we can all come together as the collective. You know what I'm saying? Because that is the most important thing. It's always about finding ways to connect the collective together, even if it's not the whole world, but at least you're in the energy of being within the collective. And the more you can be in that energy, the more you can have charismatic gifts. Because to have charismatic gifts is to utilize it to bring the collective together. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. You being your charismatic individual self attracts the opposite, attracts the multitude. But the more you're trying to fit in with other people, then you're going to feel more isolated. See how it works? It's like the more you try to be something, the opposite will come and absorb you. But the more you be your true self, your individual self, then the collective is going to be attracted to you instead of the other way around. You trying to be the collective, and now you feel like you're isolated. So yeah, guys, that is the rules to an engagement. It's all about when you're engaging with other people. It's all about knowing who you are as a person, and once you know who you are as a person, everything else will make sense, and everything else will come together very easy, and you won't feel like life is hard, and you always have to be in some type of competition with other people. You know what I mean? You want to live a life where you don't have to feel like you're in competition, and you can just be happy and smile and be your true self, and everyone else doesn't feel like they have to walk on eggshells, or you feel like you have to walk on eggshells amongst other people. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're not hurting anybody physically, then I think that you being your true self is very important, because the day that you lose yourself is the day that you lose the world. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that you put yourself first. So yeah, guys, that is rules to engagement. Now let's get to the next poem. The next poem is The Agreement. The mission is constant. Mental energy is abundant. Never remain reluctant. Create an influential movement. What is a teacher without no student? Live life for each moment. Persevere and receive the enjoyment. Doubts and fears are redundant. To be free from bondage is to be independent. And that is the agreement. That one says the mission is constant. Mental energy is abundant. So the mission is constant. It's just talking about life. Life is a constant mission. You're always finding something to be mission, whether it's, oh, I need to go to school, I need to go to university, or I need to achieve this entrepreneur vision that I want to achieve, or I need to work on this goal physically or mentally or spiritually. There's always a mission that we're creating. And the mission is what makes things exciting. It makes you want to fulfill that mission. If you don't have a mission in life, then you're going to feel like you have nothing to live for. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to you to create your own personal mission. And your personal mission will be based on your abilities and your capabilities. And once you do that, everything else will come in place. And the end result will be something that will make you happy. And then it says, never remain reluctant. Create an influential movement. So when it's saying there, it's never remain reluctant. So whatever you want to achieve in life, go for it. Don't be scared. Don't be reluctant because it might not be there tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So if you have the opportunity and it's right in your face, take it. Some opportunities only come once in a lifetime. So it's very important that you're putting yourself first and you're always remembering, okay, is this something that I know if I was to let go might be very detrimental to my soul? Or is this something I know will come back in a cycle and I don't have to stress about it right now? It's all up to you. You be the judge of that. And then it says, yeah, create an influential movement. So creating an influential movement is just being your true self. It's not about worrying about owning a collective. It's about being your true authentic self. And the more you can be your true authentic self, naturally people will gravitate towards that because deep down in our soul, we all want to be our true authentic self. No one is walking around, by themselves in their house or when they're in their private time thinking, oh, I want to put a mask on. You know what I mean? Or I want to be this. When you're by yourself is when you're your true authentic self. That's when you can relax and just smile. And, if there are people around you, these are the inner circles, the people that you can express your true self to. You know what I mean? It's like being naked, but you're naked mentally. You wouldn't be naked just to anybody in the public, right? So if you want to be naked in the true form is by being naked mentally, aka being your true self. You're not creating all these clothing and shelters and things to cover yourself, cover your true self. And then it says, what is a teacher with no student? Live life for each moment. So what is a teacher with no student? You got to be a student as well as a teacher in your life. The more you be a student, the more you learn how to become a teacher because you gain the wisdom and knowledge that life has taught you. And now you can teach that onto other people. You know what I'm saying? So when you go through certain experiences, that's what teaches you. And the more you learn about that, that's when you can actually learn how to teach other people. And then it says, live life for each moment. Persevere and receive the enjoyment. So live life for each moment. Be always in the current. The more you're in the current, the more you're focusing on the current, the more things will come into fruition. You know what I'm saying? And the more things will start to work for you. But if you're lost in the polar opposite, polarized situations, aka the past, or your anxiety based on the future, then you will never be able to enjoy the moment, enjoy the present. That's why it's called the present because it's a gift. And then it says, yeah, persevere and receive the enjoyment. So the more you persevere in your life and you're going through certain experiences, challenges, hardship, limitations, boundaries, then eventually you'll receive the enjoyment and you can, smile and, pass on with a smile because you worked hard for what you achieved. And then it says, doubts and fears are redundant. To be free from bondage is to be independent. So doubts and fears are redundant. It's saying doubts and fears are needed when it's time to be needed. You know what I'm saying? Because doubts and fears can steer you from something that can actually be very detrimental to your life, especially when you listen to your intuition. So you might have that doubt and fear, like, should I do this? Should I do that? And that might be your intuition and your inner guide telling you, yo, be careful. You might want to steer away from this situation because it's not really benefiting you, and it's actually going to set a trap for you in the future. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm telling people to really start working on that clairvoyance and learning about listening to your inner voice because things will start to make sense once you start listening to yourself. So doubts and fears are redundant. You know what I mean? You don't want to allow that to stop you from what you're trying to achieve in your life, especially when it's actually helping other people. Anything that's helping other people is definitely something that isn't a bad thing. Because if it wasn't helping other people, then that would be something from the outside world that you'll be able to tell straight away that, okay, this is something that I'm getting rejected from. So if you know that these type of things is helping yourself and other people, then that's something that you know you're on the right path and you need to keep going on. And then it says to be free from bondage is to be independent. So to be free from bondage is to be independent. You're dependent on your inner self. You know what I'm saying? So that's when you're truly free from bondage. You're not dependent on the outer world. You're dependent on your inner self. That's why it's called the independent. You know what I'm saying? And the more you can do that, the more you'll be free and your soul feels free and you can be your true self. You can smile, you can be around people, and you can express your true charismatic gifts and they can express their true charismatic gifts, and everything will all come into fruition and all come into play how it's meant to come into play. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it's meant to be. So that is the agreement. You know what I mean? It's the mutual agreement is that I be my true authentic self, you be your true authentic self, and now we can actually come together and see eye to eye. But if you're not your true authentic self, then it's hard to see eye to eye. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, guys, that is the agreement. Those are the poems for today's video. Hope you guys gained something new from the poems. Remember, always be your true self, no matter if people tell you not to be, because remember, at the end of the day, we all have our own unique vessel, our own unique soul, and we're experiencing life as it comes. So we all have our own unique story to tell in this world greatest scheme of things that we call life. So it's all about having your own piece and your piece to the puzzle and your own voice in the multitude of stories. And yeah, guys, that's the point for today's video. Hope you guys gained something new. And until next time, I'll catch you soon.